Alright, hey guys, Jerry from Showtime Audio. Just wanted to show you the update on the Lightning. So this is our sound treatment. So this is stage 2. Stage 1 has already been done, which is the inside of the outer skin. This is our stage 2, which is the outside of the inner skin. In this vehicle, normally, there's just this weather barrier, right? Which is just this piece of plastic, which obviously just kind of flaps and whatever in the wind. So the bad part about that for our speaker enclosure is, you know, for our speakers, is that creates a horrible enclosure for the speaker, because in essence the enclosure, being this, flexes. So what we do is we build these ABS composite plastic block off plates. So we make a pattern and then we mount it to the door so it's still serviceable. So if they have to get in to change the window, motor, anything, couple screws, this entire panel removes, and then when they're done, they just literally put all the screws right back in it. Our speaker adapter is in here, which is, as you can see, it's machined. It's a 1/2-inch composite also, and then we have it pocketed for the factory screws. So we're a big fan of using the factory hardware, just because when you remove it and you ever go to put the stock speaker back in, all the screws are the factory screws. It's not screws that have been changed out and you have to remember where the other ones are. So this way, it's just you use the stock screws, bolts right back in, you're back in business. We have a connector, so we didn't modify any of the wiring. It literally plugs in. So if you ever have to service this, it's 4 screws. You unplug it the same way that you would the factory speaker, and to put it back in, you plug it back in and put the 4 screws back in. This way there's no chance of getting it wrong. So this is that membrane we were talking about. So as you can see, I mean, it's just, so imagine that, you know, this is stuck to here, and the base is, you know, doing that to it. So what we do is, like I said, we remove this, we make a block off plate, and then we secure it and deaden it. So this is our stage 1, as you can see. So stage 1 above the cross brace, in the center of the cross brace, and below the cross brace. So the entire basically outer skin is deadened. So all right, so this is what our stage 1 sounds like. Pretty solid. It thuds, right? And it has a dead sound to it. And then this is our stage 2. I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's much more dead than the first door. I mean, you can hear that, right? So there's that. I mean, and that's just 2 stages. When we do our stage 3, it will improve it even more. So this is our stage 3. So as you can see, we filled in all the major flat spots. So everywhere there's a big flat spot of just plastic, we like to cover all of that area. And wanted to show you, so this is one of our templates, right? So we make a template, we make all our notes and everything, and now we have it. So for future reference, if we ever go to do another car, we can just pre-make the panels, and it makes the process a little quicker, but also makes it more repeatable and more predictable, right? So if it's the same, and every car is the same, so we try to do every car at the very highest level, and this is the way we do that. All right, so the other thing that we want to talk about is another thing that we do as far as the deadener goes that a lot of places don't do, and again, why it takes so much longer, and obviously the more time that increases the price, is we remove all these harnesses, clips, components, and so that we can deaden behind it. Also, the nice thing about that is that the harness, even if it does vibrate, it's hitting against this closed cell foam. So the only time we do notch is around, obviously, key sensors, because those need to be exposed. So we don't want to create deadener over them. But everything else, as you can see, and we'll show you on the other door. So we remove all these clips, all the bolts, all the modules, deaden the door, and then bolt and clip everything back in. So again, it takes more time, but this way it ensures that the process is as good as humanly possible, right? So then the next thing is, this is like our block off plate before we do our deadener, right? So this is a composite material, and so what'll happen is, and as you can see, we still have access for the bolt holes, and then we'll secure this and deaden this as well. So then when the door panel goes on, it creates a really solid enclosure for our mid-bass driver, so that we get the most amount of mid-bass out of the speaker. The whole reason for stage 1 and stage 2 is to create the best possible enclosure for the speaker. So like think about a speaker at your house, right? If you have a home stereo system, it's in a cabinet made out of really thick wood and it's solid, right? So that is what helps the mid bass be as loud and as effective as it is. Well, in this car, if you heard us knocking on the fender, I mean, think of putting that same speaker in your house in a tin can and then listening to it. Imagine the sound that it would make, right? So we want to make the car as stiff as possible in comparison to, like, let's say a home theater system. So as you can see, if you noticed on the doors, there's all the cables, all the modules, the handle, the control boxes. But like I said, in order to do it correctly, we uninstall all that, deaden it, and then reinstall all of it. So this way, again, we cover as much area as we can, and everything is kind of trimmed so that everything bolts right back up. Again, we're not trying to cause any trouble for body men, mechanics, the dealer, another stereo shop. We want it to be as serviceable as possible.